Alright, so I usually don't respond to conspiracy theories at this point anymore. I used to, like 6-7 years ago. I used to really be into conspiracy theories, but I'm not anymore because it's obviously out there. It's obviously documented. There's no point in talking about it because so many other people are already talking about it, and it's just kind of a waste of time for me because I feel like it just is what it is. It's not going to get changed. We're not going to be able to change it. But I feel like when it comes to like anti-feminism stuff, blue pill stuff, or I wouldn't say I'm anti-blue pill per se, but I mean, when it comes to profligating red pill stuff, I'm a little more into that because I feel like people need to hear that a little more. Whereas the conspiracy theory stuff is just, it's obvious and it's out there, so there's no point. But every once in a while, I like to dip in and talk about it a little bit. If you don't know the industry, we're talking about the entertainment industry, Hollywood, movies, music. It's just all saturated with Satanists. It's saturated with people who, worship the Kabbalah. They're into weird rituals. It's a cult. It's all a little club, and it's not hard to figure out. To figure that out, it's not hard to, decipher that in today's day and age. It's all in your face, and it's super easy to put the dots together and trace it back to what it really is. So this is just another example of that, and it's pretty hilarious because of what's going on with the Nick Cannon, who's been dissing Eminem, who they're all Satanists. They're all in that cult. Yet they diss each other, and they're always angry at each other and blah blah, and it's just funny to follow and funny to watch. But in this case, Orlando Brown came out with a video which is pretty hilarious. I watched the video up here. This is the video right here. It's on someone's Instagram, I think, or yeah, Instagram, and the video is fucking hilarious. But it's Hot97.com. You can find it if you Google it or whatever. If you're not into it, fine. You're not missing out. But basically, this guy Orlando Brown basically just says Nick Cannon gave him oral sex, and it's a hilarious video if you watch it. But I believe that stuff is going on. I believe all these guys are gay. All your famous musicians, all your favorite famous guys, I believe, I'd say, man, 60-70% of them are gay. I personally think, and there's a lot of them that maybe aren't gay, but they do gay stuff in order to get ahead in the industry. And that's just, if you follow conspiracy theories, it's pretty common. That's pretty common knowledge. It's been exposed for over 10 years. For a long time, people have been talking about it and showing proof, and it's just a creepy industry. I think it was Noriega, the rapper Noriega on Vlad TV said, you can get famous on your own. You can get famous without being in that industry, but there's like a turning point where if you want to go extra famous, if you want to get super famous, you have to like talk to these people over here. You have to get some handlers. You have to sign up and do some extra stuff. Do some extra curricular activities, some extra homework, and then they'll take you from regular famous to like super famous if you do some certain things and you follow some certain protocol. So guys like Eminem, guys like Justin Bieber, Usher, Puff Daddy, and I believe in Hollywood to a good extent as well. These guys there's some real creepy stuff going on because the people who run it are Satanists. They're homosexuals and they're Satanists. So it's not anything that I've said. It's not anything that I know that other people don't know. This is all out there. All this stuff is out there, and you can find it out. So this right here is just par for the course of what that is, and it's just funny to hear that Nick Cannon is talking about it. And if you break it down, what he's saying, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this. I'm going to break down what he's saying. What Nick is basically saying. I'm going to read between the lines. So this is Nick Cannon responding to that video on Twitter. So Nick Cannon responds on Twitter, and he has a lot to write. So I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to break down what he says, and I'm going to say what I believe that it means, what I believe it to mean. Now, of course, this isn't definitive. I don't know for sure 100%, but it really sounds like to me that this is what it is. So I'm going to break down what I think it is right now. So this video is on YouTube from All Urban Central. You can find it. It's called Nick Cannon Responds to Orlando Brown Saying He Gave Him Oral. So this is Nick Cannon responding on Twitter. And he says, when I first saw this, I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, me too. But then after putting a little cognitive effort and analytical thought to the situation, I figured what a great opportunity for a teachable moment. Okay, so he's saying, now I'm going to teach you. So he's saying, now listen to what I'm saying. First off, let me say I'm praying for the young brother Orlando, even though I don't really know him personally. You probably do know him personally, so you got to read between the lines of what they're saying. He's saying, I'm praying for the brother, so I'm above the brother. He's saying, I'm above the situation, and I'm praying for it because it's obviously not true, and I know Orlando personally. Therefore, I know that therefore you should believe what I'm saying because I know him personally. Well, you're also admitting that you do know him personally, so it's possible if you know him personally that you could have actually, topped him off, done what he said you did to him. He says, I have always loved and enjoyed his talent and have been a fan of his past work. He was effing brilliant in Major Payne. Yeah, he was pretty funny in that movie. That's a hilarious movie. But anyway, and had us all laughing on That's So Raven. But this is another crucial example of when we allow our young artists to be prematurely exposed by this demonic business. So let's break down what he's saying here. He says, so basically he's sunning. If you know anything about New York or hip-hop, they call it sunning, meaning you make somebody your son. Like, hey, yeah, son, I know your history. I was there when you were a little kid and woo-woo-woo. Well, first of all, Orlando Brown, I believe he's like in his 20s. He's in his mid-20s or his late 20s, so he's really not a young kid. Okay, yes, he grew up, and it seemed like he was a young kid in the 90s. I mean, Major Payne came out in like 95 or 96, something like that. And he was a little kid. Orlando Brown was a little kid in that movie. He was like 4 or 5. So if you think about it, 4 or 5 in the 90s. Now, 2020, he's probably going to be like 25, 26. So he's really not a little kid anymore. And Nick Cannon is what, 40? 39 or something like that. So he's really not that much younger than Nick Cannon, but I'll give him, I'll give it to him. I'll say, okay, we all watched him grow up, blah, blah, blah. He's like a younger brother, or he's like a younger guy to you. I get it. I get what you're saying, but read between the lines of what he's saying. He's saying he's younger than me, and now I'm gonna school you. Now I'm gonna take you on a lesson. Listen to me. I've been praying, so I'm exalted. I'm in this spiritual position. I'm not even in that position. Woo woo woo. But yet, hold on a second. Then he says, but this is another crucial example of when we allow our young artists to be prematurely exposed by this demonic business. So think about that for a second. He's admitting the business is demonic. He's admitting Hollywood is evil and demonic, and yet this man, Nick Cannon, is working in Hollywood. So how does that make sense? So if Hollywood is demonic, if the business is demonic, and yet you're working in that demonic business, then what does that make you, Nick? Think about it. You're talking about how, okay, it's all evil, woo, 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 and look what it does. And he was prematurely exposed to the demonic business. But how are you different? Because you still have work in this business. So if it's a demonic business and they let people rise to the top through this creepy, cult and having to do protocol, how are you in the demonic business? And how are you successful and a leader in the demonic business, Nick? That's what I want to know.